folks, welcome to episode 2 of Team Venom Media's greatest graphic novel guide for 2025. This week we're going to have a slightly controversial one, but one that I really enjoy, and I know a lot of people didn't, and that is The Amazing Spider-Man One More Day by J.M. Straczynski and Joe Quesada. Now, this is the end of JMS's iconic Spider-Man run. And like I pointed out last week, most of this stuff is on the shelf. I've got the full JMS run on there. Absolutely love it. It's one of my favourite Spider-Man runs of all time. And the ending got really hated by fans. And there's bits from this ending that they've been clamouring for Marvel to undo for years, but they haven't. So essentially what happened was, following the Marvel Civil War event, Spider-Man revealed his identity to the public. And as a result, Aunt May got shot. And this graphic novel is the fallout from that. So this is Spider-Man trying to find some way of saving his aunt, and essentially it's a book where he has a deal with the devil. Now, there's lots of spoilers in these videos, just by the way, because of course there is. It's definitely worth a read. It's really good. Great artwork from Joe Quesada, who was the editor-in-chief of Marvel at the time. It was it was so frowned upon by JMS, who wrote the bulk of it, that he had his name removed from the last issue of this story at the time, which is quite amusing. But yeah, so it played out across issues 544 to 545 of Amazing Spider-Man, issue 24 of Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, and issue 41 of Sensational Spider-Man, because at the time there was 3 ongoing Spider-Man books, and they used this as a way of condensing that down so that there was only the one. So Amazing Spider-Man then just came out a lot more than it had been before. So you were getting, I think it was 3 issues a month instead of 1. So that was pretty cool. And it was followed by Brand New Day, which was this whole reboot thing, and that's still the state of Spider-Man comics now. So essentially, the big spoiler, the big twist is that Spider-Man saves Aunt May by selling his marriage to the devil, which is what people hated about this. So it essentially ends with Mary Jane and Peter making a deal with Mephisto, so that there you go, all of Mephisto's wonderful glory, and it was so that Aunt May would be spared and she would be free to live life, and also that everyone would forget that Spider-Man unmasked at Civil War. And they did this whole thing for years where basically Peter Parker and Spider-Man were only able to let people know that he was Spider-Man if he unmasked to them. And I think they then retconned that via the Spider Island event, because Peter Parker actively went on TV and told the world that he woke up with spider powers like so many other New Yorkers, and that they needed to help take Spider Island back. It was a whole thing because Spider Island was like loads of people got infected with spider powers, and that then undid the spell, so that basically people could then suddenly put 2 and 2 together and realise that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, because up until that point people knew but didn't know. So if he unmasked willingly to them, then all their memories would come flooding back. He did it to the Fantastic Four, he did it to the Avengers, and then from Spider Island onwards people could actually piece it together, whereas prior to that they couldn't. So yeah, it was weird. Very controversial book, but it's one of my favourites because, as I say, I love the JMS run. I wasn't a fan of the fact that they wiped out most of the Spider-Man continuity for years because, again, lots of spoilers. Let's flick through here to show you the end scene. So we have a bit where Peter goes to a party, and it is the return of Harry Osborn. As you can see, old Harry Osborn's face there. Harry Osborn had been dead in comics for 20 years at this point, and that's how they brought him back. And I think they recently undid that as part of the lead up to the Beyond series, which the reason I'm doing a stretch is I'm pretty sure I've got that issue in arm's reach. Yeah, I have. So this was issues 545 of Amazing Spider-Man. Issue 875 there. You can see the legacy issue 875. That's when they undid the Harry Osborn revival thing. So he had a good 300 plus issues of that. In fact, I will show how they did it. They basically revealed that in this that he'd been a clone, that the Harry Osborn that came back in this was a clone of the original Harry, and therefore he was still dead. And this is also what pays off the One More Day, and why Mephisto was messing with Peter Parker. That's all in this issue, which I should probably put in one of these feature feature things, because it follows up. It just took 300 issues for them to actually follow up on why Mephisto was offering in that to begin with. But it's a great book. It's one of my favourites. It's got an afterword by Stan Lee, which is quite cool, because Stan Lee was writing less and less stuff at that point. Obviously passed away a few years back. It's a great series. Amazing Spider-Man's one of my all-time favourite comic book series. You can't really tell from here, because obviously I've pointed out the new Avengers stuff. That shelf and the shelf below it are all Amazing Spider-Man books and stuff, and tie-ins, and therefore there's going to be a lot of Avengers, X-Men and Spider-Man stuff all covered in here. For future episodes, if there's anything that you guys have seen in the background that you want me to talk about, because while this is my recommendations of stuff that I think is great, I've got so much stuff that's in there, and the only things that are on those shelves are books that I enjoy. So virtually I could talk about everything on these shelves, and they'd all make a decent episode for the greatest graphic novel guys. So it's quite easy for me to just pick something off and do this. But yeah, so anyway, this week's One More Day. Great. Please remember to like, subscribe. As I say, let me know in the comments if you do want me to do anything specific. Lots and lots of Marvel content. A little bit of manga there with Akira. But yeah, thank you very much.